Madam Glam was so kind to send me a selection of gels from their recent Pot of Gold collection. So I am going to swatch these up and do a little bit of nail art. Try something out. I've got these really cool dried flowers and citrus colors that I'm excited to see what I can do with. And I don't know, possibly some ombre French tips. Not sure how it's going to go, but I'm going to play with it a bit and see what happens. Till then, I'm going to get these swatched up so you can see how they look. I don't typically use these kinds of colors very much, so I gotta say this is going to be a bit different for me. So I'm starting off here with Orange Poppy. This is a very, very citrusy, peachy kind of orange. Very bright and pretty. And I typically do 2 coats on each swatch just to build up that opacity. This would very easily do with a single coat of coverage though. Madam Glam's a brand that I truly love using, given that I have a severe Hema allergy, and it's Hema free, 21 free, and vegan as well. I've been really curious about this one. I don't have anything like it. The first coat was really quite patchy. The second coat, though, covered it right up, filled it in nicely. So here they are all swatched. They are some very beautiful, vibrant citrus colors. Of course, other than this cool metallic one. I've top coated them both in matte and glossy, so you can see. And yeah, this one is supposed to have a tiny hint of glitter in it, but it is so much of a hint that it is not noticeable. I cannot even see it myself, so I don't know. So it's just a bit of a off-white, really. But yeah, quite nice. Let's see what I can do with them. So I'm going to start my fun with an ombre using these 2 colors and a Lumiere sponge. My idea right now is setting up a base that I can add some dried flowers somehow onto. And before using my sponge, making sure with a sticky pad, these are just lint pads, making sure to get off any pieces of lint, dust, what have you, all nice and clean. And here we go. Just smoosh it down and tap it around. And so it does create all those bubbles, and of course we'll have to do a few coats, but that's okay. You swap it around, And go in with the white one, which will help to reduce some of those bubbles. And then we put that in the lamp, and we go in and do it again. All right, time for the next layer. You don't have to go super thick and heavy on your polish. The sponge does suck a lot of it up. That's okay, because we're going to end up being able to use some of that after. Make sure you have it on the right spots when you go back in again. And smoosh it down. It creates such a beautiful and seamless ombre. It's just those bubbles that aren't fun, but again, we'll figure that out, don't you worry. Here it is out of the lamp. I don't want the color too bright and vibrant, just because I want to be putting florals and stuff on it. I want it to have a more of a muted look as opposed to super bright and vibrant. But I do have a lot of polish still on my little sponge, so I'm going to bring that in here. You see that? There you go. It's putting lots more on it. And this way I can kind of control, like I want more of that green on there, a little less of the orange. So I'm going to kind of shift up and focus on moving that green up a bit. There, look how nice that filled in. And I didn't even go get more polish. Could probably do that twice more. And again, in with my white sponge. Let's move that orange into the right spot there. Just helping out, removing a little bit of those bubbles. Trust the process. Yes, there's a little bit of bumpiness to it, but we're going to fix that. Back into the lamp. Here we are out of the lamp, and I'll just show you if we went in again. I've not added any new polish. Look at that. There's still lots of pigment on there. And I'm doing exactly what I said I didn't want to do. I'm brightening it instead of having it a little more translucent. But hey, that's okay. That gradient is flawless, that ombre. And again, going back in with the white side, making sure you see where that orange is so it's not transferring. Back in the light. It's out now. And here's my secret weapon. It is Purity from Madam Glam. This is the one polish that I cannot live without, that I have to refill over and over and over. It is a milky white. A milky pink does the trick as well. And what this is going to do is not affect the color, but it is going to help smooth out some of that bumpy look and create a more flawless cover. It also smooths out the transition a lot more. In there, look at how nice and smooth that gradient is. There was a couple of spots where there was some quite raised, I don't know, bubbles and such. And I just took my tweezers and just scuffed it a little bit to get it off of there. And yeah, it cleared it right up. And you can see it doesn't, the purity, the milky white doesn't really affect the color. It makes it not quite as fluorescent maybe, but it gives it a really nice smooth look. Like a flawless, simple gradient ombre, just like that. So I've just been kind of playing a bit with these flowers to see what I might want to do. I'm not really sure. So I've picked through and played with a whole bunch of different pieces of flower to try and get an idea. I think I kind of know what I want to do. So I'm going to go in with a rubber base, just so I have something a little bit thicker than a typical base coat, which is also what you could use. This way I have a little more to sink those flowers into. And now comes the fun part. This stuff is so delicate and so very fidgety. But hey, it sunk into that base coat real nice. It made it a lot easier. Gonna snip a couple of pieces. Feels like delicate surgery, guys. Once you're happy with how everything's sitting, that can go in the lamp. Now it's cured with the base coat, and you're just going to go in with your rubber base and encapsulate it. You could use a builder gel, you could use whatever you want for this. It's not so thick that the rubber base won't take care of it for me. I think you probably need to be careful with the dried flowers that you're not smearing too much, because they are dried and dyed, so there's a good chance of pulling some of that dye around. I have a feeling it could get blurry and start spreading color around if you're not careful. I'm going to try and float this over top instead of swiping too much. As the flowers get wet from the base, they will start to leak color, is my guess. I don't know for sure. I'm figuring as much. And here. And here it is, out of the light. I feel like this little stem piece at the bottom here is still sticking up. So I'm just going to go in. Actually, before I go in, I should take my sticky inhibition layer off. Otherwise it'll gunk up my file. Wouldn't be the first time, but you're better off taking that away. All right, and then just go in with your file and smooth out any sections. Or if you need to do any balancing to get a smoother line, this did pretty good. Other than there was a little spot in the middle that I saw and this little bit of the stem here on the cuticle. That was about it. So I'll just do a nice little cleanup on this, and then we'll top coat. Looks really cool matte too. And now we go in with our top coat, although this looks gorgeous, even matte. And there it is. It turned out even so much better than I was expecting. It was quite lovely. And so simple to do. Took a few minutes, but even for me, not that long. More just fidgeting around with those little bits of flowers. Here is the other Madam Glam color that I just can't live without. It is the Milky Soft Pink. Makes for a great base for French and such. It's really nice for when you want just a hint of color. And going in with just a very light second coat to smooth out that color. Not necessarily trying to build it up, just trying to get it nice and even. So now for this ombre technique, I want to go in with just one color for the tip. And for that, I'm going to be using a sponge dabber, which I should also remove any lint or stickiness from. So I decided that I wanted a more drastic color on the tip. So I went in with 2 layers of my polish, and I just dragged it down a little bit with an ombre brush, but still kept that original sponge line, which makes the ombre end off a little more natural at the end there. So, and then I got the thicker color coat, because it is harder working with oranges and yellows to not get it looking patchy. So that ended up working really well. I'll cure that. And I'm going to go over it with this Purity. I'm not using the pink again, just because I don't want it to be too pink looking. So the Purity White. And remember, you want to keep this as thin as possible. I'm just using this to kind of smooth things out. I'm going in with a little bit of flowers. So hopefully I can just stick it right into this. And then encapsulate. We'll see. We'll see if this is enough of a layer for it to stick to. It may not be. So my idea is just doing a little cuticle, a little floral cuticle here. And out of the lamp, we're going to go back in, or we're going to go in again with a rubber base. Let's see if I can smoosh down those flowers a bit better before coating them. There it is out of the lamp. You can see I've got a little edge here from a floral that I'll need to get rid of. So I'll go in with alcohol. And I'm just going to go in with a really smooth, delicate file for those edges. Just so we don't end up with anything bugging out at the cuticle line. Blend. And then go in with our new white top coat, even though that looks quite lovely matte. Let's see what this does. Gives it such a nice three-dimensional look too. So that as much as it looks nice matte, I think with these florals, that 3-dimension really brings something else to it, since it's not like a flat sticker or something. There it is, all beautifully top coated. Along with the other one. So that's how they turned out. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that subscribe and notification bell so that you get notified the next video that drops. As always, until next time, don't forget to love your nails. Bye.